What's good, y'all, man? So we're going to look at the Week 3 AP Top 25 poll, man. I'm excited. Some top teams, man. So many SEC teams is in that top 10. And, man, it's looking interesting. Now, going through the week, obviously, Georgia had a top win against Tennessee Tech. Just dominant win for them. You know, they was able to do a little bit of everything. Georgia looks like the best team in college football. Texas one was surprising. I did expect them to win, but not like that. Quinn Ewers, man, they was doing their thing. He was doing bombs all over the field. Michigan didn't have any answers. Fortunate still to be in this poll, I think. But Texas looks like a national title contender. They really do, and so does Ohio State. And like we said, we've talked about so much, here on the channel, just how dominant they've looked, and they got this freshman phenom and Jeremiah Smith as another weapon to this already pretty good offense. And Will Howard's been doing good, managing the game, taking what the defense gives him. He's been doing an outstanding job. I think the biggest surprises has been the struggles of some of these top teams, like Alabama struggling against USF. Now, they broke the game open with obviously LaDarian Miller and him having the touchdowns. Justice Haynes added one. That's true freshman phenom. And Ryan Williams having a touchdown, only 17 years old, doing his thing. He's looking like, to me, a Devontae Smith Jr. Just what he's able to do, his explosiveness, how he can take the top off the defense. But that was interesting. But they was able to pull away nonetheless. But that was definitely a scare for the Bama Crimson Tide. And then Oregon's another one. Like, Oregon struggled against Idaho, and they struggled this past week against Boise State. So I don't know, like, what to make of Oregon. I feel like their offense is scoring bunches with Tej Johnson and Dylan Gabriel, but how good is this defense? Last year, one of the staples of this Oregon team was they could get to the quarterback, right? Their defense was pretty good last year. This year, I feel like it's taking a step back. So I think that might hurt them in terms of title contention. But I do think they're still a top team, but they have struggled mightily. And then number 7, Tennessee, everybody's high on. Nico Alemaleva has kind of showed that he is a top player in the country. And if he keeps having these performances, he could kind of rise himself up into more national spotlight. I do want to see him do it against a top program. Not saying that NC State wasn't. Obviously, they came in as number 24 team, but they struggled the week before in their matchup against an unranked team. So I want to see him do it against a top-end team like a Georgia, Ole Miss or Bama. I want to see him do it in a big game like that. But nonetheless, man, he's been great. He's been great so far. And then obviously my Hurricanes, man, we're at number 10, so not getting too high. We got the one against Florida, and then we got another lowly game coming up. But Cam Ward continues to impress. He's rising, man, getting a lot of buzz in the Heisman conversation. He's looked good. Again, we got some tough games coming up, so I want to see how we kind of perform in those before I anoint us as a contender just yet. Is Miami back? But I'm going to go ahead and reserve and wait for that. But they did look pretty good. And obviously, you had Oklahoma State having that scare against Arkansas. Against Arkansas, they came in there, was running the ball, built an early 14-0 lead. Oklahoma State pulls it out in overtime. So shout out to them for being able to win that game. They also looked pretty good. And then LSU, don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on the Tigers, man, with Garrett Nussmeier. I think they're going to pull off an upset this year. Obviously, they lost to LSU to USC, who is number 11. But I think LSU is going to pull off a top win against one of these better teams, whether that's a Missouri or when it comes down to it, they're playing Alabama or somebody like that. They're going to pull off a top win this year. You can book that. Now, the one I don't understand, obviously, they're ranked at number 25 and looking at number 18, Notre Dame. How do you lose 16-14 at home? Like, I don't understand that. That's a historic type stadium. You're the Fighting Irish, a top team. They were ranked number 5. I just don't understand how you lose to Northern Illinois of all teams. Like, that one was mind-boggling for me. They went down, tried to get the field goal, didn't have enough leg on it. They go down, they score. It's just like, it's the same thing that we always talk about Notre Dame. Their offense is not elite, and it has not been elite in a long time. And it feels like it's so one-dimensional to a degree. And until they fix that, I don't feel like Notre Dame is going to be relevant in that conversation as far as contending for a national championship. All right, so now I move myself up. So obviously some pretty good teams here. Iowa State pulled off a 1-point victory against Iowa. I thought Iowa had that one in the bag with how elite their defense is, but same kind of thing, man. They're having the same struggles they've had in previous. But shout out to Iowa State, man, for the big win. Cade Klubnik had a big win against Appalachian State after they got torched in the second half by Georgia. Put up 7 touchdowns, over 300+ yards passing. So good for him. Maybe that helps him in the confidence. I did like that they played the true freshman a lot more. Brian Wesco. They needed to. You got to play these young talent early if you're not going to go in the transfer portal and have those guys at your disposal and choose to use it. You got to have these young guys play early. So shout out to Clemson for adjusting to that. Now, we talked about Nebraska on my other video. with Colorado, man. But a pretty good win, man. Dylan Raiola looks like the real deal on the next level. They call him Baby Mahomes. And what he can do, man, and his side, his different arm angles that he throws with. I know a couple he had some missed throws and some underthrows, but it looks like he has a good command of the offense, and Nebraska's going to be competitive this year. And it's been a long time since they've been good. I think it's the first time in AP poll in a while. So shout out to them, man, for defending their home territory and making that feel like a college football atmosphere, because looking at it live on TV, that place looked electric, man. So shout out to the fan base, man. And I think they're going to be relevant this year in that conversation when it comes to the Big Ten, I should say. So watch out for them. And then last but not least, we got Boston College. They got a big game coming up this week, actually. They're going to play Missouri. So 6 versus 24. That's one of the top matchups. I'll break that down later this week. But I did want to point them out. Big win last week, obviously in Labor Day, beating Florida State and putting them basically to unranked. So Thomas Castaños had a big game in that one, man. I had throw a touchdown, a couple rushing. So I want to see how they respond after that. Same thing, Georgia Tech, they ended up losing to Syracuse. Syracuse gave them a good game. Georgia Tech almost came back and won with a good fight. But how does Boston College, Nebraska, the Iowa States of the world, how do you guys handle being in this spotlight, being the AP top 20, being the AP top 25? It's not easy to do, man. You get a lot of pressure, a lot of people talking about you in a positive way. And that team that you play in the next week, they want to beat you. They want to prove that you are not a top 25 team in the country. So you got all that going against you, man. I want to see how Boston College responds against a top SEC school in Missouri this year with Luther Burden, who's one of the top wide receiver prospects in this upcoming draft, and will be probably a top 10 pick when it comes down to it, man. So that's my thoughts. That's my reaction to the AP Top 25 poll. I thought for the most part they got it right. If it's me, I slide Bama down a little bit. I know they won, but like I said, it was an ugly win. Not out of the top 10, maybe to like number 6 or something. Maybe move Ole Miss up, and maybe Missouri up a little bit as well. And I kind of like where Miami is. I would probably move Miami over Oregon. Just with the same thing, how they struggled so far, how kind of, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but just not as dominant as you would have thought Oregon would be. Like, they have them coming out and winning this Big Ten with USC in there, and obviously Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. So, like, I want to see more from Oregon. So I would have Miami ahead of them right now for me. I like where LSU is, and I really like the fourth one. I think they did good with that. LSU 16, Michigan 17, Notre Dame 18, Louisville 19, Arizona 10. I do like how they got that. So overall, I say this AP poll is really good. I give it a solid B plus, almost a A minus. I think they did a good job, and there's only a few things I would change, man. So that's my reaction. But comment below, man. What's your big upsets for this week?